Hey guys, welcome back to my Another Eden version update guides videos. In this video, I want to cover over the new update, the 1.2.5 update, which is the chance encounter of Gariyu. I'm going to go over the new characters that come with this new update, and I'm also going to be breaking down the fights for this encounter. Do note that we are going to get into spoiler territory, so if you don't want to be spoiled on the fight, don't proceed further into this video. Without further ado, let's get to it. So what's new to this game? We're gonna get new characters added to the dreams to pull. We're gonna have Yuna and Lavinia, and we're also going to have Gariyu, the new unit that we will meet through the chance encounter battles. So the new unit, Lavinia, she comes in 3 to 4 stars, uses a bow, is Earth type light she uses. The role that she provides is mostly physical with some supportive aid. Her Valor chant is 25% strength increase to the entire team, and you can obtain her Troubadour tome through the Tower of Stars hard mode. The next unit, Yuna, is a 4 to 5 star unit, uses a staff, attribute is neutral, type is light, role is mostly support with magic and some aid spells. Her Valor chant is 20% attribute resistance down to all enemies and recover all status ailments for the allies. And her tome, which during the making of this video, it was translated as Kanagi tome, but whatever they decide to translate in English can be found in Man-Eating Marsh Very Hard. Some useful information about Yuna. She's going to be the best supportive unit in Another Eden. She covers a lot of bases. That includes covering attacks, physical resistance, intelligence, magical resistance down to the enemy for 3 turns. She has spells to increase the strength and intelligence of all your allies for 25% for 3 turns. She also grants essentially what is a extra large or overheal. That is a healing over time for 3 turns, as well as cleansing all ailments upon activation of the spell. And she also has a AoE poison that she can spam that is great for drawn out battles because the poison nature deals percentage health damage to bosses and units. The next unit we'll discuss is Garyu. He comes at a 2-star unit, but you can upgrade him to 5 stars. He uses a staff, he's fire, and type is dark. His role is mainly magic DPS. His Valor chant is enemy fire resistance down by 30% for 1 turn. You can acquire his Flame Road tome, again, might be different on the spellings, in Nadera Volcano Very Hard mode. Now let's go over the chance encounter for Garyu. The starting location that you can start fighting him is in Zol Plains. The encounter can be reoccurred every 6 hours once you beat each section. And the recommended starting level is 40, but it goes all the way up to level 80 for the final encounters, and the location for each encounter will change. So let's just do a quick breakdown on where you can find the locations. The first encounter you'll start things off with is in the Zol Plains. The next one is in the Tilin Lake. Third encounter is in the Keruri High Road. Fourth encounter is near the end of Nadera Volcano. And the 5th encounter is at the boss room of Xeno Domain. Now let's break down the key mechanics to the fights. First off, the bird. He absorbs fire, is resistant to earth, slash, and blunt attacks, is susceptible to water, wind, and any type of neutral pierce or magic, such as Mario's almighty attacks, and is also susceptible to water, wind, pierce attacks. And for the most part, towards the end of this encounter, you do want to have mostly a 4.5 to 5 star team, since the health and attacks of these fights do get very taxing on the current unit and the current equipments that we have obtainable. And finally, his ads, which I call the flock, that he summons, also absorbs fire attacks, so don't shoot them with fire. They're weak to pierce. Fire AoE is usually enough to kill 4-star units that they do, and in the final encounter they have around 36,000 health, which requires good use of DPS to bring them down. And of course, managing their team's mana points and the adds is very key to a lot of these fights. So let's go over the rotation for the bird fight. He starts off by summoning 2 adds, and if he repeats his rotation, if one add remains alive, then he fails to summon another add, essentially giving you guys a free turn. If both of the adds are still up, you want to try to burst them down because they do deal a lot of AoE fire damage over time. Second move, he does a AoE physical fire attack. Third move, he does a fire resist debuff to the whole party for 3 turns. So if you want to micromanage, you could try to remove units from the front line to not get hit by the fire resist debuff, and have tankier units like your Mighty with a fire shield or Mario up in the front to be able to tank a hit. And then his fourth move is a AoE fire magic attack, and once we get to the 5th step, he goes back to summoning his adds. So here are just some suggested units for healers. You can run Mario. She has her 50% resistance buff, which helps the team survive a lot of the bird's attacks. Krevro, he can buff with intellect to empower heals. His heals removes fire resist debuffs. You may also have him at a lower speed so he could dispel them on time. Palm, she can heal and buff your team's DPS. Pry is one of the few healers that can intellect debuff the enemy adds to reduce their incoming magic damage. Some suggested DPS units. Suzette's Wind and Pierce AoEs can definitely help bring down the adds and control them. Her Valor Chant to buff Strength and Intellect to the party. She has multi-hit abilities to charge up the Another Force meter. Mighty has AoE magic, very strong double hit single target spells. He also has that fire resistance shield that makes healing through it without Mario, if you don't have her, but other weaker healers possible. Leclerc has strong AoEs with strength debuffs to her skill. She has multi-hit skills to push that AF. Valor Chant to buff physical resistance for the party. And then you can use Tuva to kill the adds, and Lokito for his Valor Chants. Komachi is one of the few 4-star units that you could use to AoE pierce the attacks and bring down the adds. The 3 4-star mage casters can use the help. My suggestion is use them as a last resort if you're near the end of this encounter, because they take a very long time to be able to clear the adds. Next we have supports. So if you have Annabelle, you can use her to provide AoE intellect debuff, strength debuff, and buff resistance and regeneration to the team. Isuka can be used to help clear the adds and buff speed and power to your physical damage dealers, and you can use her Valor Chant to reduce enemy damage. Azami can kill the adds, and her Valor Chant swap to debuff the enemy intellect. Yuna is a full range support unit that can cleanse, regen, buff, poison, all that good stuff. Jade's, you can use his Valor Chant to swap for strength and speed debuff. That skill can reduce piercing. Parissa's intellect and strength buff for team, while intellect debuff the boss, and Faran can pierce and water debuff the boss. That can be used to help kill the adds. So here are some possible approaches to this fight. You want to obviously maintain your buffs to your team and time debuffs to finish the fight as fast and as safe as possible. The longer the fight goes, the more likely one of your units will get shot down, and makes the fight incredibly harder after that point. Use units like Krevro's Removal or Mario and Mighty's Shield to tank the fire resist debuff to allow your units to recover in the backline. Have the best gear possible to allow maximum survivability and to pass essentially a DPS check for this fight. If you lack AoEs, you can have Mighty or other units with sleep abilities, and you can kill one of the adds while sleeping the other to allow a 1-turn window for the boss to waste as he fails to summon the adds for his rotation. Although that could be tricky depending on if the skill does a lot of damage or not, because you might accidentally kill the adds too, but that's another possible approach. Finally, after you've cleared everything, you get to fight Gariyu. You can go back to the Zol Plains to take on his challenge. He absorbs fire and resists earth and wind. and for his fight rotation, you have him self-buffing himself with wind and physical resistance for 3 turns. He then proceeds to do an AoE fire magic attack. Then he goes on to do fire resistance down to your party for 3 turns. Follow that up with a single target fire magic with poison, and then a single target fire magic attack, and rinse and repeat. And if you've made it this far to encounter Gariyu, he is quite a bit easier to do than the bird boss. So congrats on encountering successfully and recruiting Gariyu at this point. Oh, and the bird comes back as a optional level 90 super boss challenge if you guys want those 50 extra chronos. What to expect next in 1.3? You can expect a new side story with a new obtainable unit for the side story, a few units obtainable through dreams, fishing, and the next tier progression, dungeon available in another dungeon. Stay tuned to find out more. Make sure you like and hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed my content, as I try to bring out as much high quality Another Eden content as I can whenever the game updates. Anyways guys, take care and thank you for watching. Have a great one. Bye bye.